Chapter 2. A Story of Friends. When Precious returned home, she opened the door and let out a little gasp. Yikes, she thought. The nest is a mess, and Big Egg will be home any minute. She quickly set out to tidy up, wondering, but not much, who left plates and glasses everywhere, feathers crumpled in a pile, and the doors wide open. She knew that Good Egg would never leave the nest like that. That only left Bad Egg as the culprit. What am I going to do about that little egg? She thought in a bit of a tizzy. But Precious scurried about, picked up the mess, and started the family dinner. She wanted to have time to go look for Bad Egg before Big Egg, her dad, got home. She knew he would be pretty mad if he knew what had been going on. Running outside while the pot roast simmered, Precious scanned the neighborhood. Where is Bad Egg? She murmured. She heard cheering and jeering coming from behind the big wooden fence that screened off the city dump. Running over to a hole in the board, she peeked through. There was Bad Egg, his friend Scrambled Egg, and a bunch of other little eggs skateboarding up and down and around the rim of an old bathtub perched on a pile of junk. All about them was a circle of other little wild eggland kids applauding and taunting the boys with each run that they made. Bad Egg had his iPod on and probably had music blaring. He didn't even have on a helmet. No chance of calling to him and getting his attention, she thought. So Precious ran along the fence until she found a place to crawl under it. And then she strolled sternly over to the skateboard party. She was pretty savvy to what worked and what didn't work with Bad Egg. If she scolded him in front of his friends, all she would get in return was a rebellious, "No, I'm not coming." So she waved to him and said in a calm voice, "Dinner's ready." In her chest, however, her heart was beating lickety-split because she did not want him to crash his skateboard and break open his shell. She simply couldn't believe that he would take such risk with his life. Would Scrambled Egg like to come and have supper with us too? She asked. Scrambled Egg looked up eagerly. Although Precious felt that Scrambled was definitely a very bad influence on Bad Egg, she felt very sorry for him. He had been kicked out of the nest when he was a tiny egg and had no family. He lived on his own, scrambling to survive. He was just a little street urchin and was always dirty and scratched. Precious knew he rarely got enough to eat, and she had no idea where he slept at night. Scrambled Egg looked at Bad Egg, who took off his iPod. "What?" asked Bad Egg impatiently. Precious repeated, "Dinner is ready. Would Scrambled Egg like to come eat with us?" "Oh, okay," he said, as though nothing whatsoever had been going on. So home they went. As Precious, Bad Egg, and Scrambled Egg walked up to the nest, Big Egg was arriving home too, and Good Egg was coming up the sidewalk carrying a load of books from the library. Everyone laughed and greeted each other. To all the world, they looked like a happy family. But Precious felt like another disaster had very narrowly been averted. She pushed the scary feelings out of her mind and pretended that everything was just fine. During dinner, Precious had an idea. As everybody was finishing up their dinner, Precious asked Big Egg if he would mind if she took some cookies over to her friend, Humpty Dumpty. You might remember that Humpty had a terrible accident and had been confined to his bed ever since. "Of course," he said. "That's a great idea." Big Egg always felt a special fondness for Humpty and was happy that his little daughter was so good to him. "But I want some of the cookies," protested Bad Egg. Give me some before you go." "Well," baited Precious, "come along with me and we'll have a little party with Humpty. And you can have all the cookies you want. You too, Scrambled. Come on and we'll have a party." So they packed up a dozen cookies in a bag and headed over to Humpty Dumpty's nest. Bad Egg had never once gone to see Humpty after his great fall, even though he had known Humpty before. There were two parts to Precious's plan. I'm curious to see if you can figure them out. You can tell me later whether you think that her plan worked. As the four little eggs walked to Humpty's nest, the sun was setting. It was a lovely night. They passed lots of egg nests with the soft murmurs of little ones going to bed, their favorite park, their school, and some of their friends who were curious about where they were off to with such a big bag. Then, along the way, there was an immense green yard with a huge gray structure set way back from the sidewalk. It was the egg carton. That was where some eggs were put in little gray cubicles. The cover was closed and they were set into cold storage. There the imprisoned eggs stayed, unable to escape and unable to go out and play with the others. Precious knew that the eggs that broke the rules were the ones put into the egg carton. As they strolled by the imposing edifice, Bad Egg looked at it curiously. "What's that?" he asked. Precious didn't need to say anything because Scrambled Egg jumped in with an explanation. "That's the egg carton," he said. "My dad is in there. I never get to see him since he was sent away. Once we had a real family, and then my dad went to the egg carton. My mom kicked me out of the nest. She said I was just like him." "But I don't want to end up in the egg carton," he said wide-eyed. Precious took Scrambled Egg's hand. "They only put people in the egg carton who break the rules. If you follow the rules and try to do good things, you won't go there." "But," she said, glancing at the two little rambunctious eggs, "you two do have to behave."